may have already seen this viral video, the West Point football player and his dad rescuing a man from this burning car. Well, late Saturday night, Larry Pickett Jr. and Larry Sr., his dad, drove up to this accident scene in Fort Montgomery, New York. The car had hit a utility pole on Route 9. It knocked some power lines down. You see those across the road there. Larry and his dad, they didn't even think twice. They jumped out of their car and they pulled that driver who was trapped in the car out of the car to safety. And then it's what happened moments later. The car that had crashed burst into flames. Just an incredible act of courage. And we are happy to have Larry Pickett Sr. joining us this morning on Connecting America to share this incredible story of how you and your son, an Army football player, saved that man from the burning car. Larry, thanks so much for being here. Take us back to that moment when you pulled up to the scene. What did you guys say to each other, or did you even have time to think?
No, sir, we did not have time to think. There was not much conversation had at all. We pulled up to the scene and we saw the power line. It was down. So you're driving up and you see something on the ground and it's sparking. So of course what is that? And I followed. The music was up, so we couldn't hear anything else around it. We look to the left and we see that there's a car in the trees with the pole was on top of the car and the power line was under the car sparking. And I looked into the window and I saw that there was still a gentleman in the car. Airbag had deployed and he's just sitting there, unresponsive. So, of course, we got out. My son, Larry Pickett Jr., he sprung into action. We got into the vehicle, but before we got there, there's already people there, calling 911 and telling us, no, don't go. But I realized why they were doing that, because not only did you have the fire aspect, you had the electricity aspect, because of the power line. But we still went forward, went in the vehicle. We had to tug with the seatbelt and kind of get him out. And that's about the time where the video that went viral. That's about the time where you see that starts to record, because you see us free him from the seatbelt and then start to tug to pull him out. And then I'll fall down like on the third tug. And then we finally get him up and get him across the street. But it was one of those things where we did, like, to answer your question, we didn't have time to think because we weren't going to let him burn. And again, the people who were there who were saying, no, don't go. I mean, we understand why. And even thinking about it recently, when somebody's in a medical emergency and you put the defibrillator on them, they tell you to clear because it starts their heart, but it stops their heart. So you don't want to get near electricity. But again, my son and I, we still couldn't let him just sit there. So we're just so happy that he's okay. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, well, kudos to you, Larry. It's really amazing to hear it firsthand from you. West Point called your son's actions, quote, the embodiment of Army values. What does it mean to you to hear that from the Academy?
Yes, ma'am. Wow. It was just amazing. The outpour of just appreciation that they've showed him from the top leaders at West Point. People all around the world have been messaging and just talking about his actions. So I just appreciate people recognizing my son, of course, but he's the exact opposite. He does not like any of this attention. He he is just thinking it's just another day. And we feel that anybody, any of those 4,000 plus cadets at West Point would have done the same thing. They vet their students. They pick from the top of the top kids from around the world, around the country. And I feel like anybody from the West Point community, any of those 4,000 cadets would have done the same thing.
Larry, just incredible. And to think like you did not even think for a second about the danger of those power lines. You just went right in. What has been the response that you're getting from your friends and family? And what is your family saying to you? What were you thinking? Are they saying congratulations?
The response has been overwhelming. This story has been picked up all over the world now. And they're going to be continuing to cover it. But our real feeling is that the real heroes are the ones who arrived afterwards to help. The firemen and women who came, the EMS men and women, the police, they do this every day. And there's not people recording and it doesn't go viral. So this was just something that if you were there, you probably would have done the same thing. You see a man and he wasn't unconscious, but he was not responding. and he
Right.
didn't respond until we got him across the street. So really, the outpour, we appreciate it, but it's the real heroes that do this every day that should be appreciated.
Well, you are the real heroes, Larry and Larry. So thank you. We
How's
thank
your
you
son
here.
dealing with all this attention, by the way? I'm just wondering.
I wonder if we
Very
lost
strict
him.
school. His schedule from about 5:30 a.m. to about 11 p.m. is already packed because he's a football player, and we're in the very beginning of football season. But he's been taking his off time to take some of the media questions. Again, he's not one of those people who likes attention, but he is accepting the appreciation from people.
Yeah, well, we're glad you did the interview, right? If he wasn't going to do the interview, we're glad you joined us. And again, we thank you. That's just an amazing
Well-deserved
story.
attention.
Yeah.
Guys, that's incredible. He says any one of you would have done it. No, Larry,
No.
we wouldn't. I
Not
am
true.
speaking for myself. No, I
Yeah.
No.
wouldn't.
There would have been a lot of hesitation.
Yeah.
Particularly, Kate, they say that they could already see when they pulled up the power line sparking under
Yep.
the car. So I didn't know that they had any clue that it was going to explode soon, but they
Yeah.
did have a clue, and
Yeah.
they
They just
ran towards the
acted.
danger
They
anyway.
sure did.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. I
We're
want
glad
Larry
they're
Pickett
okay.
Sr. to be my dad.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I didn't get to ask him that.
Dad of the year and son of the year for
Yes.
sure.